program today is the Fall Scholar Athlete Program, one of the committee's favorite programs of the year, of the season. Today we honor the student along with the athlete in Student Athlete. Our first student athlete comes from field hockey. We have met her before and her smile is infectious. She is Thando Zono, a senior from Grahamstown, South Africa. Thando is a resource economics major, and to talk to us about her performance in the classroom is resource economic professor Natalie Lavoie. Thank you.
Before I start, I wanted to say how honored I am to be here to celebrate Thando's success, and I really thank you for the invitation. As I entered a windowless classroom in Chenoweth on a hot day of September last year, I took a deep breath and I surveyed the room of 72 faces. Who would be taking my course in industrial organization, also known as Redneck for 52? 72 faces, only 11 female students, one single international student. It's that single international student who came to me at the end of class that day to introduce herself as Thando, and perhaps to say that she would be missing a couple lectures during the semester because she was on the field hockey team, but I'm not exactly sure. What I really remember was her radiance, her level of respectful comfort with someone she barely knew, and the confidence with which she told me that the course sounded interested and she was looking forward to it. After the class, I read her 4x6 card on which she wrote that she was a little nervous about the class, but she would put in her very best effort to do well. Nervousness often is a sign of productivity. Redneck 452 is a required senior level course that demands a good grasp of microeconomics theory and the ability to understand and apply abstract concepts, apply them to the real world, and vice versa. It's not an easy course. Missing class was a real cause for concern for Thando, but it was an unfortunate necessity. It's in meetings following those missed lectures that I became acquainted with Thando, and South Africa, and field hockey, and her faith in God. If I judge by the enthusiasm, eagerness, generosity, and graciousness with which she answered all of my questions, Thando, as a university tour guide, must have had a real success. And I think that we ought to look at a Thando Zono effect in any rise in student recruitment in the past couple of years. That fall, she took my course because she had a torn ACL and could not play. How is it that someone who leaves everything she loves in South Africa, her family, her friends, her hometown, who traveled thousands of miles to come to play field hockey at UMass, is not immensely discouraged by this adversity? How does one juggle a difficult course load, university tours, rehab sessions, and leading her team despite her injury? How does one juggle the emotional pain of not fulfilling her dream and perform so well academically? How is it that when she arrived in my office in the middle of the semester on crutches, all I could see was a positive person? As I learned about her recent athletic success in the face of her injuries and the passing of her beloved father recently, I'm struck not only by her strength, determination, and resilience, but also by her openness. I'm struck by her openness to new ways to perform in the face of injury, be it collecting balls, videotaping her teams at games, cheering her team, and delving into the market structure conduct performance of the U.S. car industry. I'm struck by her openness to learn from a difficult situation. I'm struck by her openness to realize that life is bigger than the playing field we think we're on. In the fall of 2011, Thando took Resec 452. She was one of 72 students, one of 11 female students, the one international student in the class. She obtained the highest grade, 95%. She has made the Dean's List 3 times since her arrival at UMass in 2010. She currently has a GPA of 3.87 in her resource economics major. And behind these numbers, there's one determined woman. As a UMass faculty member, I'm richer for having come to know her. And I would like to congratulate you, and I'm so proud of all you have accomplished.
Thank you so much. To talk to us a little bit now about Thando's performance on the athletic field is her head coach, Kala Tagia.
I've been here a few times this fall to speak about Thando, to speak about the team, but I have to say it's really, really nice to hear an outside person speak about Thando from more of the academic side of things, because I know what she means to us and to me, and I know how wonderful she is. And you know, it feels good for me, and I'm really proud of her just to hear someone else kind of reflect and talk about her greatness. And you know, this is a great, I'm really proud to be here today for her to speak on her behalf, because you know, it's one thing that she's a phenomenal athlete on the field, but I think this award really recognizes, it's more of a holistic award, and it recognizes Thando for everything that she does. And she has had an outstanding academic performance here at UMass, but she's also touched the lives of a lot of people, not just her teammates, but you heard Professor Lavoie talk about how Thando is a tour guide here at UMass, and she's worked from day one since she came to school here. And I joked with her when I first got here, because we were walking across campus, and she seriously will have other students yelling across campus at her, "Hi, Thando!" And she's like, "Oh, I gave them a tour. I gave them a tour." And I'm like, how many people? I really would like to poll the student body here to how many people know Thando and who took a tour from her. I think admissions should look into keeping her on staff. But my experience with Thando when I got here is very similar to professors that Professor Lavoie's was. I came here in January, and you know, I had a new team of 17 individuals that I'm trying to learn who they are. And we had our first meeting, and then we went, and I think a few days later we conditioned for a couple weeks, and finally we had a practice, which I know a number of them were looking forward to. And who's in my office not 5 minutes after practice but Thando? And I'm like, oh no, what did I do wrong? And she just knocked on the door, and she came in still in her practice gear, and she's like, "Hi coach, can I come in for a minute?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" She said, "I just want to say I really enjoyed practice today." And I was like, okay, great. And I'm like, well, how many people or how many players, you know, have I ever had that have walked into my office after practice when the locker room's on the other side of the building and they're all sweaty to just tell me how much they enjoyed practice? But it's just a reflection of who Thando is. And I think it's really impressive that a class of 72, and we're just hearing from one of Thando's professors, that she stands out immediately just because of, not in a bad way, but just because of who she is, and she makes an effort to get to know people and to form relationships. And I just really admire that about Thando. I don't think that we see that often amongst young people anymore, and especially amongst young women, young females. And I think she has a lot of confidence, and I think that's really admirable, and I think it's definitely rubbed off on a lot of her teammates. But my relationship with Thando started from there, and she then, you know, would come in every so often and clearly she had read my bio on the internet, and she'd be like, so, you're a business major. And so then that proceeded to us talking every few weeks about my experiences with school, what books I was reading. We exchanged books a few times. I'm not sure how many students I'll ever have that want to talk about economics in my office, but we had a number of conversations about economics in my office. But just a little bit about Thando athletically and kind of how she progressed from when I got here. When I got here, she only had one more year of eligibility left. She came here, she had spent 2 years at a university in South Africa. So when she came over, the NCAA said you only have 2 more playing seasons left. So she had already used one the fall before I got here, and then she had the one coming up. So I sat down with compliance and we looked at that and we tried to figure out if it would be possible to petition the NCAA to get her an extra year. Because technically in South Africa, she hadn't played field hockey for her university, which is the criteria the NCAA goes by. So we put in that petition, compliance helped me work on that, and we actually ended up getting another year for Thando, which was this fall. Time went on, we started the outside spring hockey, and 2 games into spring hockey, Thando tore her ACL. And it was kind of right at that we started doing the math in our heads, and it was looking like it was at that awkward time when we wouldn't get her back for the season. And if we did, we may only get her back for a month or maybe a few weeks. It depended on how quickly she recovered from the surgery. And so we went ahead, she had the surgery, and then it was just a waiting game from there to see how the surgery would take. And it got to a point in the season last year where it just didn't look like it was going to be a possibility. And then I remember going into the last 2 weeks of the season, she went out, she was going to practice, it was her first practice, and she tweaked something in her knee again. And all of us were like, oh no. And then it ended up not being anything major. Well, actually, it was not anything severely major that she needed surgery on, but we waited. She had to go have some more tests, and I remember getting a call. We were on the road at 8 times that she tore it again, and I was like, oh no. And it was actually someone had misread it, and we got back, and she had tweaked another ligament in her knee, but the prognosis was good. She just needed to do a little more rehab, strengthen her knee, and never take her brace off while she was here at UMass, which I made sure she didn't do. So it was a bit longer of a recovery in the end, but we ended up getting her back for the season, which I know all of you know she had an outstanding season. But what a lot of you don't know is that, we started off on fire. We won our first 2 games of the year against 2 ranked opponents in UNH and Ohio State, and then Thando's father passed away. And we immediately, John's here today, and I have to thank the athletic department for how everyone stepped in. And we bought Thando a flight within 2 hours and had her back at home in South Africa to be with her family for that time period. So she went home for 2 weeks and spent some time with them. And I listened to a professor talk about how do you come back and just get back that passion to just put that smile on your face every day and do something you love. And Thando, she came back, and I think we're all a little nervous about how she would be. And she's Thando. She loves life, and she feels very fortunate and very blessed to be here every day. And so she missed that time period, which ended up being 4 games. She came back for a game, came back another game, got a concussion on a ball she saved with her head. And so then she was out 2 more games. So what I'm getting at here is Thando missed probably a third of the season, and she still scored 14 goals and 5 assists and was a first-team All-American. I can only imagine what the impact she would have had this year if she were here every game, but it doesn't matter. She left her mark on college hockey this year and left her mark on the NCAA. And I couldn't be proud of her for her performance this year on and off the field. She had one of the most spectacular postseason tournaments and runs I've ever seen. She had 7 goals in 4 games. She had 5 goals in the A10 tournament and then 2 goals in the NCAA tournament. So 7 of her 14 goals this year came in the last 4 games of the year, and it's just phenomenal. And she'll come up here and she's going to show you that infectious smile, and it's the most genuine smile I've ever seen. I overheard someone asking her, you just smile all the time. And she's like, well, I just don't understand why you Americans don't smile enough. She's like, I just feel so blessed and fortunate to be here. And I can just honestly say I feel blessed to have had her and to have worked with her, and she definitely has impacted me. And I just feel there couldn't be a better person that this award could go to today. So before Thando comes up, I'm going to ask John to come up to present the award.
Hello, everyone. I feel like I have to smile. God, I wasn't planning to smile, but I guess I'll smile. It's not that difficult. All right. I mean, first, I just want to say how sad I am a little bit because I'm not going to come to any more of these sports luncheons, and I'm really enjoying these lunch dates, and it's been awesome. Every single one of you have just been great. I just, I was asked to share my experience of being a student athlete, and for me, just my personal philosophy and like why I do the things that I do, it just comes from one of my favorite scriptures, and it says, "Whatever you do, do it for the glory of God." And so when I look at that demands excellence. That demands for me to give my everything, both on the field, in the classroom, just the relationships that I build with people, and just everything I do. So the success that I've had, I mean, I give glory to Him, and I'm just so thankful that you guys can be a part of that, to see that. And just being an athlete, it's just been a very demanding lifestyle, with everyone just demanding a lot of you in a good way, so I don't feel bad that, you see that. But I just want to just quickly say just a very few thank yous before I leave here. As Professor Vaughn and Carlos spoke about, beginning of the season I lost my dad, and that was the hardest thing that's ever happened in my life. And so there's no such thing as, oh, there's a better time when this could have happened, and so, but just the way that UMass athletics came up and stepped up and just really was there for me, it was just truly humbling, and there's no amount of thank yous that I could say, just to really just show my appreciation, what you did for me and my family, and be forever grateful for that. And like Carl said, the Special Assistance Fund, they got me a ticket within, like that night where I found out, I was able to go home. So I got to be home within 48 hours after hearing that, and that's, I mean, amazing, since I don't live in America, I live on the other side of the world. So that was truly something special. And just Carla as a coach, it's just been so wonderful to me, besides like being on the field and just demanding a lot of me and just giving me a lot of knowledge. She's just been a great mentor for me. Like she says, I go to her office a lot. I think sometimes I just go there, I'm just like, I'm here. She's like, well, yeah, I'm like, I don't know, but I'm here to see you. And, so I really appreciated that, and I learned a lot from her. And I think my success this season came because of the style of play that she has. So it allowed me to do a lot of things that I don't usually do, so to say, because I played defense, but you see I was scoring a lot of goals. So, I mean, it was something that she was doing. But also my teammates too, they played a great part. They've been my backbone too. I mean, Hannah's here to support me in that, but they've been great. I play a team sport, so it's not just about me. My teammates have been there with me every single step of the way. I just want to share quickly what my teammates did for me. So I came back, from going home and got my knowledge, raised money, so my mom could come see me play for senior day. And so when Carla told me this, I mean, I wasn't even smiling, I was like crying. I was like, what? Is this like for real? And so then the next day I called Mom, I was like, oh Mom, you're coming to America. She's like, what? I was like, yeah. They kind of do that kind of thing. My brother's like, tell them you have a brother. So I was like, no, I think it was just a ticket for one. So, just to show the heart of what they would actually do for me, and that was absolutely fantastic. She got me to, come to see me at senior day, and just, I think I had a great postseason, and that was wonderful to see my mom up in the stands with that. And just Pete, also academic services, he's had my back. Even though he has red hair, I think I've given him a few gray hairs a few times. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know, but I need to take these classes. So he's really helped me with that, and just understanding that, academics are just as important as being on the field. And also just my professors as well, Professor LeBois, it's been wonderful as well. A different experience being in the classroom, and just always striving to be a positive contribution in the classroom. And I think I succeeded in that with what you said. So, I've really enjoyed my time here with sports medicine too, tearing my ACL. I think they really helped me, just making sure I come back healthy, and by the looks of things, I think I'm pretty healthy as well. And also another little one, Mike. I don't know, it's just little things, but just having clean clothes all the time and your uniform, that's something that amazed me. I don't get that back home, so I just think it's such a great privilege to even have that. So I appreciate it a lot. But and just for all of you here and just getting this award, it's an honor. I thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being a part of this whole process, being a UMass Minutewoman and representing you guys. And I'm proud of every single moment of it. So thank you so much.
Is from men's soccer. He is Dominic Skrajewski, a senior from South Kingston, Rhode Island. Dominic is an architecture major, and to talk to us about his performance in the classroom is from the architecture department, his professor, Karen Browse.
Thank you so much for having me and also for pronouncing Dominic's last name for me. I'm so pleased to be here to represent really the whole architecture faculty. We're a very small faculty and we're very close with our students, and everybody's just immensely proud of Dominic for the work that he's done in our department, as well as for winning this really amazing award, which truly brings together, I think, the qualities of leadership that he possesses both on the field and off the field in our program. Unlike many academic pursuits here at the university, which might be done in a solitary fashion, architecture is a field of study and a profession that truly demands teamwork at every level and really almost at every moment. So, as architects, our sustainable future demands collaboration between multiple stakeholders with divergent worldviews, skills, circumstances, and needs. Personally, I teach technology, and while emerging technologies in all fields increasingly facilitate technical cooperation, it's equally important to develop the soft skills that facilitate teamwork. So while it's not completely uncommon, it's fairly atypical for architecture students to also be athletes. Architecture demands presence in the studio, in our building, working physically with your classmates, more hours than most of us have in the day, and it's really difficult to accomplish the work remotely while traveling or at the last minute. So pursuing both an architecture degree and an athletic season demands an incredibly high level of commitment, organization, and passion, all of which Dominic possesses. So when I found out that Dominic was going to receive this award, I reached out to all of my colleagues to find out what they could tell me about their experiences working with him in the studio. And each and every one confirmed my own experience. Dominic, no surprise, is very hardworking, but he's also collegial and very thorough. He's a really great asset to the studio environment, always willing to share information with others and participate in any group endeavor. And his most recent studio professor was particularly impressed that while playing on the soccer team this fall and keeping up a grueling schedule in studio, he also managed to fit in time to visit other schools, check out their graduate programs, take the GRAs, and put together a beautiful portfolio to apply to grad school. And that while doing this, he's always managed his work and his life with poise, grace, integrity, and ever-present optimism. In particular, she related to me that something that I saw in the studio when I taught Dominic a few years ago, that he's very well respected by his peers in architecture, and that they literally scramble to work with him, and they really value his advice. So personally, I look forward to doing the same, Dominic, as you go out in the world and continue your successes both on and off the field.
Talk to us about Dominic's performance on the athletic field. His head coach, head men's soccer coach, Sam Koch.
these things to say, and I wrote some of them down. But I think a lot of it will just come to me. First of all, I want to thank, just listening to your story about South Africa and your smile, to be able to see your smile and to hear your appreciation for the experience that you got here. I think we all appreciate what you've given back to us. And that's something that I think is lost in athletics. I think we forget that student athlete is a student, and yes, it's all about trying to be successful and trying to do the best you can. But you know, it's a complicated job to be able to do what you do in the classroom and do what you do on the field. I can't tell you first, Dominic, as a student. I mean, as an athlete, I saw him play in West Virginia. You know, he committed to coming, and I went down to watch the regionals, and we were flying in, and I can't even remember where we were flying into, but it was a very small airport, and we're coming out of the clouds, and all of a sudden we get through the clouds, and all of a sudden the mountains all over the place, and I'm going, I wasn't sure if we were going to make it, and we landed, and we landed quickly, and then we got to the fields, and I said, oh yeah, I think he's going to help us. And then I saw him play with a passion that you can't coach it. It's something that's inside you. And he's a good athlete, but he has a drive that's inside him that makes him an unbelievable athlete. If you say, how quick is he? Well, I'll be honest with you, he's not that quick. But he's one of the fastest people there, because he just reads things quicker, he anticipates quicker, and one of the only things that I saw that was faster was this deer that came out of the woods. Had absolutely no idea where it was, and just ran across the fields, and I've never seen anything like it, and that deer was fast. And that deer was faster than Dominic, but that was one of the few players, or few animals that was that day. But I knew then that we got a player that was going to make our team better. What I didn't know was the leader. And as most of you know, this was a tough season for me. Diagnosed with cancer in the summer. As I can't thank all of you enough. Your emails and your notes and your letters, the support of my family has been absolutely tremendous. I'm not that religious, but my faith in the human race, my faith in human beings, the wonder of a human hug, I can't tell you how lucky I am. Lucky I am that I know all of you. Lucky that I am that I've had the support that I've had. I can't tell you enough. But what happened this season was Dominic wasn't just an athlete, a leader. He also had to be a coach. My two assistant coaches left at the last minute. I had a new assistant that came in, and I was able to coach during the season, but you know, I had a lot of other things on my mind, and physically I wasn't able to do as much as I wanted. And so Dom was also a coach on the field. He was my voice to the players, and there was no question if I wasn't there, or any question if I wasn't, you know, a couple of practices where I actually fell asleep. But don't tell anybody. I was in my chair, and I nodded off. I knew if I was sleeping that he was going to be watching everything. And you know, my wife said, don't say this, but you know, there are very few players that I've had that I would let date my daughter. And he's one of them. That won't happen. She's only in 7th grade. But I think that tells you a lot about her. And he did an outstanding job as a player and as a leader and as a coach on the field. One thing that was really difficult was, similar to your stories about the injuries, he was playing at 80%. And as quick as he was when he was 100% healthy, at 80% he wasn't that quick. At 85% he really wasn't that quick either. But so we had to have him on the field. And because of his leadership qualities, because of his ability to get everyone else to play at another level, and we actually put a formation around him and that I've never done before, but it was the only way to make sure that he was on the field. And although we didn't get to the NCAA tournament or the Atlantic 10 tournament, he made the season for me very special, and I am indebted to him for that. I am extremely lucky to be able to do what I do. Extremely lucky to, God forbid, say I've gone through what I've gone through, but I don't think I would appreciate what the student athlete does. I don't appreciate the value for life as much as I do now. The value of friendships that all of you have given me and my family. I'm extremely lucky, and even luckier to have a captain and a leader as Thando. Thank you.
We have to stand in front of that.
Came up with a little something last night. Well, first off, I just want to thank everyone for coming out today, and the selection of today's awards. Whoever selected this is an awesome honor to have, and T and I can definitely, we love this. It began 4 years ago, showing up as a timid freshman in preseason, not knowing what to expect. Will I adapt to college academics? Will I be a part of the soccer team? How will I manage both of these demanding activities together? These were only a few of the questions I had showing up August 2009. Being able to participate as a student athlete was truly a gift. As an architecture major, most of our time, endless nights, are spent in the Fine Arts Center. Showing up to a 7 a.m. practice straight from studio with no sleep was certainly not a highlight of my week. This wouldn't have been possible without the flexibility of my teachers and coaches. I still remember Professor Brouse's comment to me sophomore year when I told her I'd be missing a few studios. You have your whole life to be an architect, and only 4 years to be a collegiate athlete. Without this type of support, I wouldn't have been able to juggle both activities. And today, she is the only architecture professor to make an appearance at a home game. Thank you. As an athlete, I couldn't have asked for a better 4 years. Playing for Coach Koch was nothing short of unbelievable. The fire and intensity that he had every day at practice was inspiring. Walking out of the tunnel and him looking at you while you're probably still asleep saying, "It's a great day to be alive, gentlemen." It's one of the quotes I'll never forget. If you were to tell me that I was going to be a captain of a Division I soccer team 6 years ago, I would have called you crazy. I will never forget the feeling of putting on a number 5 UMass soccer jersey on game day. It is something I miss already and get quite emotional thinking about. I look forward to coaching this spring as the team prepares for next year's season along with Coach Koch. I can't imagine what the humor and jokes are on the other side of the wall with the athlete and coaches. Lastly, I just want to thank my parents. Without their love and support, I wouldn't be up here today. I still question who got more excited on game day, my parents or myself. The fact that I can count on one hand the amount of games they missed my entire career tells me a little something about them. Flying to Charlotte or Ohio was just another fun weekend for them. Thank you so much for driving and flying around these 4 years. Having your support on and off the field always kept me going. Once again, I want to thank Coach Koch and Professor Rouse. The next chapter of my life will hopefully be graduate school for my master's degree in architecture. I have no doubt that my experiences at UMass as a student athlete will help me in graduate school and eventually a practicing architect. Thando, I want to congratulate you and say let's enjoy this last semester we have, because before we know, we're going to be at graduation. Thank you.
Congratulations to both Thando and Dominic. And we would like to welcome Dominic's parents here. They did drive up from Rhode Island today, so welcome.